Hi, and welcome to Masterminds, where we speak to those professionals who excel in their field. And we get a little insight into their background and what makes them tick. So today we have one of the best bass players I know, Mr. BJ Saunders. BJ has been playing bass since he was 8 years old. He doesn't reside in Trinidad anymore. He resides he was also Uh, well, he was an ex-police for so long. So let's bring him on screen and have a chat with him. Hi, BJ.
Hi, Janine.
How are you? How's everything?
I'm okay, enjoying this beautiful summer-like weather in New York. Summer-like,
Summer-like weather.
summer-like,
Like
because we're in
summer-like.
spring. We're in spring, but it's
It's still in
summer-like.
spring. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're getting a little bit of the Trini feel of the weather coming in, just slowly but surely.
It never ever feels quite like home. The
Uh-huh.
heat here is a little bit different to the heat in Trinidad.
How so?
It's a lot more uncomfortable here. Let's put it that way.
It's like a stifling heat and not just
It's a stifling heat. Yeah.
okay, I get that. I get that. Okay,
You know.
so BJ, tell us a little bit about yourself. What inspired you to become a mastermind? What made you fall in love with music and your instrument?
Well, well, first of all, my dad used to be a DJ, like
Oh,
those real old school DJs from back in the late
mm-hmm.
70s. And we had our own DJ system at our home. We had a music room. We had these big boxes and stuff like that. And
Wow.
back then, there wasn't CD players and MP3s, so it was real records, watts, 45s and the LPs and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
he would be playing all his music every day, whenever. And then when he leaves the house, my big brother, he would start playing all the popular music of that time. So I basically was
Okay.
exposed to everything from Joey Lewis to Michael
Yeah,
Jackson.
yeah.
So I heard everything, Sparrow, Kitchener, all that kind of stuff, El
Mm-hmm.
DeBarge, everything that was popular at that time from every end of the spectrum, I heard it. And I've been hearing it
Good
before I was
mix.
even born. So when I came out, all I knew was music. I was fascinated by the way the speakers would move when the bass hits and all that stuff. And then eventually I understood what bass guitars was and what guitars were. And
Mm-hmm.
I started off as a guitarist actually.
Okay.
We had like a couple box guitars in the house. So I started messing around with that because my brother also plays, my dad played. Um,
You play a box guitar?
yeah,
I
rhythm
never
guitar,
knew
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I started. Well, I think started playing the tambourine, but any child in Trinidad who grew up in church starts off with a tambourine. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I play rhythm guitar and bass, and later on I kind of touched drums a little bit. Yeah,
So you came out the room chipping. It
I
sounds
came
like.
out I came out the womb chipping, literally. So as far as I
What,
was
what, what
told, at least.
when you started playing bass, what was you feeling like? What made you decide, yeah, this is what I'm going to stick with?
Um, I just love the feeling of being able to hold a groove, just play something that makes people bob their head or give a little shake. So I like the concept of melodic lines with rhythmic patterns. So bass just felt right to me. When I really focused on bass later on, like my early teens, and I really said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna focus on bass guitar because between age 8 to about 12, it was guitar. It was all about guitar. And so when I hit my early teens, that's when I really focused my energy towards bass guitar.
All right. Or what do you love about playing the bass? Because I know you've played for so many bands across Trinidad and Tobago and abroad. My favorite being Mr. Marcus Miller. I love a Marcus Miller.
I love
Mm,
Marcus Miller. That
mm,
he is one of
mm.
my mentors, so to speak. I had the pleasure of meeting him once. That
I
was
remember.
that was a life defining moment for me because I'd been listening to his music for so long, and a lot of my slap bass technique has been influenced by him, as well as and a lot of people don't know this. Fred Hammond is like a phenomenal bass player as well, and
I didn't
I
know
pattern a lot of
that.
yeah. He is a really good bass player. So just leave it at that. So like his albums like Purpose by Design and Pages of Life
Mhm.
Chapter One, all his studio bass would have been Fred. So
Okay.
he influenced a lot of my playing as well.
I didn't know
Um,
that. I never knew that.
yeah. Fred is a beast on bass. It's
Okay.
beautiful.
So then he is one of the people that you admire in your profession. Is there anybody aside from Marcus Miller and Fred, is there anyone else that you admire? Or is it just those two you'd really draw your
Oh
inspiration?
no. Well, for most gospel bass players, like my age and older, one of our
Mm-hmm.
earliest inspirations will be
I
the
mean, like
Godfather himself, Abel Laborio.
25 and up?
Yeah,
What?
25 and up. You're very right, 25 and up.
Yeah, yeah, 25 and up. I know.
25 and up,
I'm
yes.
around
So,
I'm around there as well.
yeah, yes, we all are up there. I mean, around there. So, so anyway, Abraham Laborio, that's the guy who used
Uh-huh.
to play for Ron Canoli, and he was very
Mm-hmm.
animated on stage. So he was like one of my first influences as a visual of bass playing. Then we
Okay.
have, of course, any bass players who consider themselves bass players would have had some influence from Jaco Pastorius. So he's like from
I've heard of the
70s.
name, yeah. Yeah, I've heard of the name.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't know his
he's
work.
amazing. Um,
Ah,
as well as there's the guy who started the whole slap bass or thumping thing. That's Larry Graham. And then from
okay.
Larry Graham, you might know him if you listen to that old school music. There's a song called "One in a Million." You're one in a million chance of that. The
Mm-hmm.
guy who sang that
Mm-hmm.
is actually a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh, I
Larry
never
Graham.
knew that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then of course, Mr. Thunder Thumbs himself, Louis Johnson from the Brothers Johnson.
Thunder Thumbs.
Yeah,
I've never heard that. I
he
like
earned
that.
that nickname for being the guy who really made slap bass popular in that time. They did the song Stomp. Stomp all night
Mm-hmm.
in the neighborhood. That. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's
Oh,
a
oh, that's one of
bass
my
solo.
favorites.
There's a bass solo in that. That's Louis Johnson.
Well, now after this, I'm going to put on some old school music. Now, sir, you've inspired me to, turn it on. It's a nice Sunday,
It's a
a
nice
wonderful
Sunday.
Sunday afternoon. Yeah. All
Hmm.
right. Playing bass. Well, I know you've played. Can you name some of the bands that you've played with?
Okay. Well, on the local scene, Trinidad, that is, I've worked
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of big gospel bands. So that would be like Broadway Boys International, Sherwin Gardner. I worked
Mm-hmm.
with Sherwin for like 6 years from, oh, that's a long time. It was from 1999 to 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I did work for people like Quintessence, played for Sean Daniel. Um, I worked with, well, I was the main bass player at San Fernando Open Bible for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Celia Downs, people like that. I did a couple soca tracks, so like, well, I know one of the most notable tracks that I've recorded on would be the 3-0 rhythm, which is the rhythm that has Marshall's song A Bottle of Rum and
Mm-hmm.
Benja is People's Champion, that rhythm. So that would have been me on
Mm-hmm.
bass, as well as Destra's Carry On. So
Oh, I like that song.
that was me.
Mm-hmm.
That was me again. Um,
What? This will
yeah,
be an
and
interesting Sunday with music.
there's also Jay Prince, gospel artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I did most of his live bass on his album as well, and a couple other singles. And I have recorded extensively at KMP Music Lab. So a lot of the live bass
Mm-hmm.
for calypsos in particular, Dwayne O'Connor, Lady Adana, Lady Gypsy. So yeah, I recorded most of them, even at Gino Studios, Garvin Marcel, out of Ice, but he's a member of the police band as well. I did a lot of live bass at his studio as well. So a lot of calypsos I recorded on.
Okay, so then with all of that experience, what has been your most memorable moment playing bass?
Live or in studio,
Both.
right? Of course, I should know that. Um,
You know me well enough to know I'm tell you.
I
You give
know
me
you
that
were not.
option.
I gave you the
Yeah, I'm
option,
gonna give
set
you
myself
both.
up. Um, I think one of the most memorable moments was in studio was when we did the 3-0 rhythm. Because that
Okay.
day, Precision Productions, Casey Phillips, and they called us in. Bunch of friends,
Mm-hmm.
we all knew each other. Myself, Will Lynch, Alpha Simpson, Jeremy McIntosh. We are the guys who built that rhythm. That day, we built
Okay.
6 different rhythms. There were 6 rhythms we built that day.
Listen,
And
I can imagine with those personalities in the studio.
it was amazing. Like the experience was
I can
there were
imagine.
no lyrics. There was no we just had an idea and we ran with it. As Casey said he wanted to do it, just come to the studio and we do a bunch of rhythms and then, put it out there to see which writers jump on which one. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when we finished the 3-0, well, back then it didn't even have a name. It was just the groovy soca rhythm. So
Okay.
when we did it, I remember looking at these guys and I said, fellas, all you understand what it is we just do here? We are going to shift the sound of soca in Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
Believe
Groovy
me when I
wise.
say,
Yeah.
believe me when I say this rhythm is going to swing. Because at that time, which was like 2012, 2012, did that? I think so. Everything soca now was sequenced and, electronic rhythms. Everything was just programmed. And
Mm-hmm.
we came out with the first live sounding track because all the instruments were live. They were live drums, live bass, the keyboards were played down live, guitars were everything was live. So it had the sound of an authentic soca rhythm from back in the 80s, you know, but it had
With
a
the real
modern
music.
right. So it had a
Mm.
modern take to an old concept. And I said to them, we're going to change the sound of soca. Best believe after that year, every single hit had live elements in it.
Because there's some you feel it. I mean, you can always tell the difference between electronic and the feel of a live band, and there's something, at least
Hmm.
in trees, when you feel that live band, you cannot sit down. There's
You
no
can't.
way
You
you could
can't.
sit down.
I
Mm-mm.
remember driving through San Fernando going to work, and it was like Carnival Monday, and the truck so party was Joy Production, one of them, and they were playing some soca music. So I wind down
Mm-hmm.
my glass and I'm listening to it, and the 3-0 rhythm came on, and just from the intro, the guitars alone, the
Mm-hmm.
whole crowd went ballistic. They were like,
Because you feel
"Yeah!"
it.
It was a totally different energy. It was a totally different
You
energy, and
feel it.
it
Yeah.
made me feel there was a certain sense of satisfaction, as well as,
Mm-hmm.
wow, we really did this, man. And
Pride, some
even
pride in good
even up
work.
till recently, I would go to shows out here, and musicians would come up to me, and when they hear my name, BJ Saunders, like, wait, you are the BJ Saunders? I'm like, it depends on what you're referring to. You say, well, yeah, because
Go ahead. Sorry.
you, you, you,
And the
you,
reason I'm
you,
laughing, people, is because BJ is a character. So
hey,
you have to
hey,
ask where you know
what?
it from. Yeah. BJ, you cannot sit still and not laugh. Nope. Nope, that's not happening around BJ. But go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, so you at DB this one. I'm like, it depends. So what are you referring to? Like you play
Uh-huh.
based on the 3-0 rhythm. I say, well, okay, yes, that would be me. Yes, yes, definitely, that's me. Yo, that whole rhythm real. You talking that rhythm hard, yo, that rhythm real hard. I'm like, all right, well, bless the Lord, thanks. So even to this day, that rhythm still stands out as a turning point to soca
It is.
music.
It is. I remember the songs that you mentioned there. I remember the
Right.
feeling of the music at the time. Yeah, it really was.
And one of
All
my
right.
most standout live performances would be that year I worked with David Rudder for the Calypso season, for the Carnival season. So I did all his live shows, and it was an experience to play for this man, David Rudder. He's an amazing entertainer, and the person himself, he's really really cool, like a really really cool guy. That's the first time I ever worked with him, and I remember being
Mm-hmm.
on stage and seeing how these thousands of people responding to him and his music. Because let's face it, all the music old, but
Okay. Yeah.
the music is so well written and arranged that, and people know
That's
it.
it.
And I remember on one of the gigs I was playing, we were playing either Bahia Girl or one of those other slow ones. And the keyboardist, that's Kenneth Batiste, he looks at me and he says, BJ, yo, man, you're really doing well. But you're playing on top of the music. You're playing on top of the music. I'm like, what do you mean? We're playing, David Rudder is in front there singing, and we're playing, and he's lecturing me in my ear, telling me that I'm playing on top of the music. He said, you need to lean back. You need to lean back into the groove. Lean back into it. Don't play on top
Feel
of it.
it.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I did the math in my mind. I'm like, okay, so if I drop these notes maybe like a millisecond behind the downbeat, I get that laid back feeling. So I started doing that, and he's like, now you feel it, you gotta feel it. Now you're in it. And that was a defining moment for me, because that changed the way I played calypso and soca music, as well as played bass in general. So it allowed me to learn another aspect of bass play, which is just to lay back into the rhythm.
I like that when you feel the music. I tell people that that those who count and all of that, but there's nothing
Hmm.
like feeling that music and knowing when to come in and working with the song and then seeing how people respond to it.
Yeah,
There's that's a feeling. So I can only imagine
it was
how
an
you felt that
experience.
day.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing since COVID? Because I know with the entertainment industry, it was hard for a lot of them in the beginning. How
Well,
did it affect you?
it hit us hard here too. I mean, I know back home in Trinidad, you all under some serious lockdown now. The funny thing is, what you all going through now, we went through
Mm-hmm.
last year. We were there
Mm-hmm.
last year in full lockdown. There were no gigs. Like now, I have a 9 to 5 job with an insurance company as an investigator, and before they locked the country down, they had us set up to work from home. So
Oh,
I'm
you're
thankful
proactive.
to God. I'm thankful to God that
Mm-hmm.
when the lockdown hit here, we had something in place that I never stopped working. So I had my 9 to 5. Grateful for that. I
Okay.
was able to meet most of my bills. The problem was it's not a very high paying 9 to 5. So my gigging
Mm-hmm.
was supplementing my income. And
Understood.
I
Mm-hmm.
was gigging hard. I was doing, this beach parties here, beach lines here. I was playing in a little club here, this little bar doing
Mm-hmm.
jazz shows. And so I was working. When it hit, all that came to an abrupt halt.
Crashed. Yeah, crashed.
Yeah. So then I had to rely
Mm-hmm.
on doing a lot of studio work. So even during the pandemic, I was still able to do some studio work for a couple artists here, um, as well as for my church. Well, the church decided to adopt this new thing. We would record the praise and worship um, prior to the service. So
Okay.
the keyboards would produce the songs. He would send them to me. I'd put on the bass track. Then he would have the singers sing from their individual homes and then make like a collage and post that onto the site.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
still did recordings for artists back in Trinidad while I was here. I still do. I did actually have a track sitting waiting on me now that I haven't been able to touch yet. Hopefully, I can do it before Wednesday. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to rely on a lot of studio work. So, I did a lot of bass tracks. I've been doing bass tracking since. But things started opening back up here like late last year. So I have a regular gig on a Friday night. I go to like this little bar. They have karaoke and live entertainment. So I do that on a
That's
Friday.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
nice.
it's opening back up, but it's not quite the same. But
Yeah, and I don't think it's ever going to, well, it's not going to be the same for a while.
no, it's
And
not.
I am of the belief that when it does come back, it's not going to be the same anymore. There's still going to have just a little shift in the way we do
Hmm.
things, like a permanent shift in the way we do things. And the fact that um, COVID has exposed how much we could do online,
Yep.
um, there's going to be a shift. So I'm waiting on that. I'm very interested in how that is going to happen.
It's going to be
All
interesting. I
right.
mean, I even had to adopt doing things like Uber Eats just to make an extra dollar on the side. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
out there
Mm-hmm.
picking up orders from restaurants and dropping them off and stuff like that. I mean, I have experience in it because for about 2 years I was a Pizza Hut delivery driver in Trinidad. That was like
Uh-huh.
20 years ago. So I have experience
So,
in that.
no, no,
So I
no.
did
You're
a bit of that.
25. You're
Right.
25. So
About,
10
about
years
10
ago.
years about 10
10
years ago.
years ago.
Right.
Right,
You
right,
got it. You got it.
right.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
No. All right. So I have well, this is a question I usually ask my guests. What is your favorite place in Trinidad and Tobago? But for you, I'm also going to add your favorite place over there as well. Or it could be whichever one. If you find that there's one that's more that holds more sway than the others. What is a place you go to center yourself? Because we all have them.
Well, over here, it's like maybe a 5 minute drive from here. There's a pier, Kanasi Pier. It's basically it's like a well, it's not really a park, but like just an open space right on the
Mm-hmm.
seafront. So there's like water, and you can actually see. I think it's Manhattan. You can see Manhattan like off in the distance, and sunsets are really nice there. Well, like right now, I'm pretty sure there'll be like flying kites and stuff. A couple of weeks ago, I took my girls there, and they had these guys flying mad bulls. For those who don't know what a mad bull is, it's a very big kite
Listen.
that makes a lot of noise.
Oh wow. Lots of
So they were
noise.
out there. Yeah, so I would go out there sometimes in the evening and just probably sit in my car and just think or stand on by the rails and just look over the water, listening to the water crash against the wall. And it's a calm and peaceful place. If not there, it's usually in my car listening to music. And in Trinidad, it's basically the same thing. There was this place in Oropouche that overlooks the Otahiti. Well, it's in Otahiti, like overlook the water there. I
That's
would
it.
park on the street there and sit on the
Mm-hmm.
hood of my car when I had the Chevy back in them days, big blue
Mm-hmm.
Chevy. That's a
I
car you
didn't
can
know that
actually
one. I
sit.
know the white, the shark.
Oh, right. Everybody knows this shark. But prior to that, I had a Chevy, like a real 1972 Chevy.
Okay.
So I would
Mm-hmm.
park the car, then I would sit on the fender and I would just, look at the sunset, look at the water. Or sometimes I would
Mm-hmm.
just drive up the creek, drive up to the airport, drive around the airport and stuff like that. Just, I like driving. And of
I
course, once I'm driving, I'm playing music. So I listen to a lot of music while I'm driving just to calm myself if I'm dealing with
And
stuff
I
like
spoke to Josanne last week, and Josanne said the same thing. It's something about being near to the sea, or
mm,
having a nice drive and smelling that fresh air. That's something that it revitalizes you. And I'm
right.
finding, I guess those that I do connect with, I find that that's what we have in common. That we do like those open spaces and the smells and something about a nice peaceful place.
Hmm.
But as I say that, the naughty in me, have you ever wanted to take a marble over there and fly it and see the reactions you would get?
I'm actually on Canasi Pier over here.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it wouldn't be weird because there are guys out there who are flying mad bulls. They don't call them mad bulls out there. They call
Ah,
them kites. It's a kite. But the
yeah.
Trini in me, looking at the shape
No,
of
it's
it,
an marble.
it's
No,
a
it's a
marble.
marble.
It's a marble. So if
Mm-hmm.
I make a marble and take it out there, I'll just be one of the 4 or 5 guys out there flying a marble. And the
Okay.
wind
Is it
out there
big like the
is,
ones we have here?
I
Like the
have
ones
not
that about
seen,
your height?
right, I have not seen one that big since I've been here. I've
Okay.
seen maybe 3 feet tall. There was one as tall as my daughter. She was fascinated by it, but I haven't seen any
Mm-hmm.
bigger than that. So I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I should make a 5 foot tall marble and go fly it and
You see,
see what happens.
I know I would have set a seat, I know I would have do.
Listen, I haven't made a marble in ages. It's been a while since in my teens. So it's
You
been a
still be
while.
teens. I think the
Yeah.
last time I made a kite, I was in primary school. Now, with my son, the mommy and me didn't want to shame the child with my kite, so I bought a kite for him. But
Well, okay
his
then.
father, his father had mad bulls, so I would let them do that. I would come and
Right.
help you fly the kites. I could teach you how to fly a kite.
Right.
You get how the because I knew that. I knew that. Right.
Already
But
got
as we speak, in how the ladies, your supervisor, I have to call her
my
your supervisor.
supervisor and my
Yeah.
co-worker. They are great. Those young ladies they're amazing. They are answered prayers. I prayed
I
hard
like that.
for a baby girl, and I ended up with two.
Mm.
So I am they 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 are my world now. I mean, before everything was music and bass. Now it's those
Mm-hmm.
girls, then music and bass. You know,
If you've ever followed BJ's his Instagram or is it his Facebook
on
too,
Facebook, yeah.
you would you would see pictures of he has two daughters. The elder one, she's 6. How old is she now?
3.
Right. He's okay. So you get an indication of the personality we're dealing with. And he would post these pictures of Naya with a headset on like this and at 3 with a headset on and a notepad and she looks like she's taking notes. Like, Daddy, no, I don't like what you do there. We're going to do that over in a little bit, but let me listen to the rest of the thing. She looks like that. She looks focused. She looks focused. I love that picture. I love that
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
Like,
She's amazing. She's very very intelligent at her age, and she understands a lot of stuff. And she likes to be involved in anything music, anything
I
music.
can see
If
that.
when I'm giving them a bath, she's like, "Daddy, where's the music? Where's the music, Daddy?" I'm like, "What do you want to listen to?" "I want to listen to the robot, Daddy. The robot. You know what the robot is?
No, what is it?
Let's Groove from Earth, Wind and Fire. You know, it starts off with that
Ah,
robotic voice.
I like Naya.
So
I like Naya.
that's it. I can't play anything else. I have to play Let's Groove for the entire duration of their bath
Why does she call it the robot though?
because of the robot voice. I remember the song started with
Oh,
the
yeah.
boogie down,
Yeah, yeah,
down.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
all.
well,
She
that's
would
gonna
she
stick.
would restart that song 1,000 times just to hear that. She
That's
loves
gonna
it.
stick in my head now. The robot voice.
The robot.
She has also is also responsible for my baby shark craze because I didn't know about the baby shark until you said that they liked it, and I was like, "What is this song?" And you sent me the link. I was like, "Oh no, why?"
Yeah, that baby shark thing it ain't right. It ain't right. She grew up with it, but the little one
Mm,
now is all about mommy shark, daddy shark, brother shark.
mm,
Yeah, she
mm.
and she's 1. So, she's all about the baby shark thing now. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of that one, but it is what it is at this stage. Like,
Well,
it's no
hopefully she
escaping.
gets into the robot voice as well, and
So she
we
loves
move
it.
on from that.
Because the
She
daddy
doesn't.
robot, robot, robot. I'm like, both of y'all need to
I
listen to
know.
some other music now.
Well, you know what to do. Play some Marcus Miller and others loudly
Work
over and
in work,
over.
work in progress.
I
Work
wish
in
you all the
progress.
best with that. All right. So, in your career, do you have an inspiring quote that you use to get you through, or to keep you focused on what you do?
Um, I do actually. I say to myself ever so often, pray and practice.
Well, I
Pray
like that.
and practice. Like, I mean, as much as you pray, you practice. As much as you practice, you pray. So,
I like that.
'cause I try to. I've always wanted to be that musician that when I step into a room and I play the first note, that everybody feels a difference in it. They feel a difference in
Mm-hmm.
the atmosphere when I play. That's what I've always prayed for. But in order to achieve that, I also have to practice. So I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of fuse the two together, prayer and practice, and I have kept that over the years.
So is that something you would also tell to those who are looking on and are being inspired by what you say? Is that something that you would tell them, or do you have
Of
another,
course.
or do you have something else of your own?
I mean, that's what I use. If I have to tell somebody, listen, you got the gig, you clearly got the gig because there's something you do that they like and that they want. So you, be yourself.
I like that.
Like something I've always worked on is creating your own identity. So as a bass player, I try to have the BJ Saunders tone, the BJ Saunders sound. So when you hear a recording, you don't have to wonder, oh, who played bass on that? I want you, when you hear it, you can instantly say, that's BJ Saunders. So I want to
I
leave that
like that.
legacy, and that's what I would share with anybody else. If you want to be somebody out here, create a legacy, create your own sound, create your own tone that when people hear, they know it's you. That will live on for years and years.
I like that because there's nobody else can do you better than you can do you. So be the
Exactly.
best you that you could be.
Be the best you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being influenced by other people, other artists, because that's it. Like as Michael Jackson would have said once, he said, in order to be great, you have to study the greats and then try to become greater. So I'm like, well, yeah, all right. Because he himself studied people like Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire is known as one of the best dancers out there from back in the 60s or whatever. And then, he would have learned stuff from, what's his guy's name? The guy who taught him the moonwalk. Well, the guy who taught him the backslide, which is Jeff Daniels
Yeah, yeah, I
from
remember that.
Shalimar.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, Jeff himself in an interview said, Michael called me and said, I want to learn how to do that. And he taught Michael how to do the backslide, which is the name of the move.
Oh, what?
But
Yeah,
the
what do you
next
call it then?
time,
Yeah.
the funny thing is, he taught Michael Jackson that in 1979. You know when Michael Jackson showed that in public the first time?
Wasn't 1980, 80 something?
82 for the Motown
82,
25.
right.
So
Yeah.
3 years later, Michael Jackson comes out with it, and now it's known as the moonwalk. So Michael Jackson took this move, which was great. He personalized it and made it greater.
His own. Yeah, I like
Yes,
that.
it is.
I like that.
You can't tell anybody that Michael Jackson is not the man who invented the moonwalk. He would have invented the moonwalk, but the move itself was adapted. So, so it's the
I
same
remember
concept.
the interview that you're speaking about, and they had him, I think, on, was it Soul Train? He was on when he showed it first.
Who? Jeff
And
Daniels?
the yeah, was it
No,
Soul Train?
Top of the Pop, which is a UK thing. What happened?
Oh,
Shalama was
okay.
supposed to perform. What was that song?
Was it the same kind of atmosphere like so? Because I remember the people
No,
around him.
it,
No.
it was like a club. It was like a Soul Train kind of thing, but the UK version of it.
Yeah, but
And
yeah, that's
Shalama
what I
was
meant.
supposed to
Yeah.
perform There's Gonna Be a Night to Remember, and I think the female singer, she was pregnant, and then the other guy was unavailable. So Jeff went and they said, "Hey Jeff, you gotta sell the song." So he worked out a dance routine which included that backslide, and that's what he did. So he went there, they played that song in the background, and he danced to it, and that's what promoted that song. Michael Jackson saw that, called him over, and asked him to teach him that, and then the rest is history.
So the next time I see you, I can ask you to do the backslide for me to demonstrate.
No, I want you to look at my face when I say no.
I will tickle you until. So what's next for you, BJ?
Um, what's next for me?
What do you want to do next? Let me put it like that. What do you want to do next?
I really just want to play bass. I want to play bass. I want to play some more bass. Like,
Look at
but
these
I'm
excuses.
yeah. I mean, I love it. I love playing bass. I love performing. I love playing in live bands. I'm not a writer, like a lyricist. I don't do that. You send a song to me and tell me write a bass line for it. That I can do. I've written a few bass lines over the years for calypsos and other stuff. You know, I'm okay at that. So I want to really continue working on my legacy as a bass player, and getting more work done like that. I don't necessarily want to be like super famous, but I want my legacy to live on even after I'm gone. That young bass players coming up could look back and say, "Wait, I remember. You see this lick I play here? This is a lick BJ Saunders would have played." You know.
I like that.
So that's what I want. I want to create a legacy, even for my girls. When they go out and people hear their surname is Saunders, like Saunders, you wouldn't have to read the BJ Saunders. Yeah, that's my dad. Yo, he's like one of the best bass players I ever heard. He's really inspired me. That's what I want. So
I
it's not
like
really
that.
about me, but it's for those that come after me. And that's
And
basically it.
that
I
is what
just
also makes you great, BJ, because you're not only thinking about yourself, you're thinking about those that coming up behind you and what you can leave for them. I like that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
So it's a legacy thing for me.
Well, BJ, we've come to the end of our little interview.
It
It's
was
so
fun.
nice talking to you. Yeah, it was so nice talking to you. And I'm giving a little heads up. I'm not saying everybody go and do this, but BJ gives one of the best hugs in the
Oh
world.
my God, we're doing that. We're really doing that,
Oh, we're
Vinny.
doing that. One of the best hugs. There are two people, you and Petra. Woo!
You know,
I
Petra and I
don't
have
know,
been going
BJ.
competition with that. We've had competitions with that. This you could give her a tighter hug. Well,
It's too much.
she lost to me because when I hugged her, she had to give up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she bowed out
Mm-hmm.
gracefully though.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even tell
Petra
them how
hugs.
we met though.
We met in well, I was singing with Chris Barbosa, and you came in as a musician, and I remembered I was sitting and listening to you talk and thinking, what madness is this? And I'm leaning a little closer to him, not being part of the conversation. And we just every now and again we started talking, and then eventually we became friends.
The all part of the CVA family.
All part of the
All part of the
CVA. This
CVA
CVA
family.
family is so
It
huge.
is
And
huge.
CVA is Chris, well, it's changed now, but it was Chris Vocal Academy.
Hmm.
It's Chris Institute of Performing Arts now. That's Miss Christiana Balbusa. So
I didn't.
that's where I met BJ. You didn't know that?
Mhm. I have been out of the loop for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I know I ain't get a hug in about 2 years. So I don't know how, but I had to make it somehow. But it's okay.
Next time I come to visit, that'll be one of the
Uh-huh.
first things I'll find you. I will find you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Vijay. Well, it was so nice speaking, so nice speaking to you and catching up with you again. Tune in next week, everyone, for the next edition of Masterminds. And until then, I want you to like, subscribe, and share the video. Let everybody know what BJ plans for the next generation coming up. All right, so everyone take care.
Bye.
Bye.